Welcome back. We got 14 games on Saturday. Just the one matinee, too, so it is going to be a very busy night. There will be 11 games on, the same as there was at the same time on Thursday, so I'll get through this again. January's a very busy month. So Sunday, there's only the 3 games, and then Monday is crazy, so have some extra time on Sunday, which is good because, of course, power rankings are tomorrow after all of this wonderfulness is done. So, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars get things going. There's going to be a live stream on the channel, though, at 10 o'clock, so that'll go for an hour until that game gets started. So, I'm just throwing that out there. And I mean 10 o'clock in the morning, not 10 o'clock at night. And I like to do it early for all you fine people in Europe who are just waking up as I'm doing this video. So, Calgary and Dallas haven't met yet. They're going to meet 2 more times, March 6th and March the 18th. Calgary's 20, 14, and 9 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5, 2, and 3. Away from home, they're 8, 7, and 7. It's a ridiculous record. They're tied with Edmonton after the result tonight. They're 4 points clear of St. Louis. So the fight in the West is really and truly getting underway as we get into the second half of the season. Dallas is 25, 11, and 7 over their last 10. They're 6, 3, and 1. At home, they're 12, 4, and 3. They're tied with Winnipeg atop that division. The Jets did tie them tonight. They're 7 points clear of Minnesota. So that division's getting really tight. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Columbus and Detroit. So this gets the night game started. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games starting. Starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. When there's that many games on, there's 6 I'm following on the TV and 1 on the computer. So I always choose one game because the one that's on the computer I'm not cycling through. I'm going to pick this one down here because I think that's a key game. But Columbus and Detroit, Detroit's won both matchups so far this year, November the 19th. It was a 6-1 win for Detroit, which means... No mercy, Magna. 4-2 win for Detroit on December the 4th. Mercy in that one, I guess, but Columbus is looking to not get swept in this season series. They're 12, 27, and 2 on the season. Last 10 games, they are 2 and 8. Away from home, they are a woeful 2, 14, and 1. They're 22 points behind Pittsburgh. On the Detroit side, they're 18, 15, and 7 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5, 4, and 1. At home, they're 11, 8, and 3. They are 5 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if Detroit really and truly wants to get into this, they have to cheer for Carolina tomorrow, and they have to win. Then 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start as well between Montreal and the Islanders. This is the first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again February the 11th as well as April the 12th. For Montreal, they're 17, 22, and 3. They're coming off of a win, but they're 2, 7, and 1 in their last 10. They're 8, 11, and 3 away from home. They're 11 points behind Pittsburgh for the last playoff spot in the East. For the Islanders, they're 22, 18, and 3. Their last 10 games, 4, 5, and 1, which is not good enough. At home, they're 12, 7, and 1. They're just 1 point out of the playoffs. So again, they're cheering for Carolina as well and hoping to pull off a victory and jump past Pittsburgh into a playoff spot tomorrow. And it's never too early to talk about it once you're in the second half of the season. That playoff line becomes very important. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Ottawa and the Colorado Avalanche. So you have 2 teams below the playoff line that wanted to be above it, including the defending Stanley Cup champions. So this is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet again in Ottawa on March the 16th. For Ottawa, they're 19, 19, and 3. Their last 10 games, they're 5, 4, and 1. Away from home, they're 8, 9, and 2. They are 7 points behind Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot. Colorado is 20, 17, and 3. Their last 10 games, they're 3, 6, and 1. They're coming off of a loss against Chicago. At home, they're 9, 8, and 3. They're now 6 points behind Calgary and Edmonton for that last playoff spot. So it is definitely a situation where if Calgary, Edmonton end up getting a win, Colorado loses this game at home against Ottawa, you're getting into territory of, so you're not going to make the playoffs. So even once players get healthy, they still may end up below the playoff line at the end of the season. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Philadelphia and the Washington Capitals. Washington's won 2 out of 3. This is the final meeting. November the 23rd, Washington won in overtime 3-2. December the 7th, Washington won 4-1. January 11th, Philadelphia won 5-3. Of course, all the news with Philly right now is that John Tortorella's taking the iPads off the bench. I don't even mention it in a news video that I recorded tonight because I don't see that it should be news that the guys can't sit and watch iPads of what happened 10 seconds ago. I find it weird. You know, I do. I don't think you need to analyze every single shift you have on the ice or everything that happens. Go out and react and get into the flow of the game. So I agree with Tortorella on it. And it must work because 17, 18, and 7 is the team's overall record. But in their last 10, they're 7-3. They're 8-6 away from home. They're 7 points back of Pittsburgh. They can help themselves by beating the Washington Capitals, who are 23-15-6. Their last 10 games, they're 6-2-2. At home, they're 13-6-3. They are 4 points ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins in that number one wild card spot. So they can get comfortable if Pittsburgh loses, so they're cheering for Carolina as well. Not too much cheering for Carolina, I would imagine, because Carolina's at the top of their division, but they'd like to have more distance between themselves and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll see how that works out. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Pittsburgh's in against Carolina. This is the final meeting. Carolina's won all 3, but 2 of them in overtime, and every game's been close. So we'll see if Pittsburgh can win a close one after an embarrassing loss tonight at home against the Winnipeg Jets. November the 29th, 3-2 overtime win for Carolina. December 18th, a 3-2 win for Carolina. And December 22nd, a 4-3 overtime win for Carolina. For Pittsburgh, they're 21-14-6. Their last 10 games, they're 3-5-2. Away from home, they're 10-9-2. They are 1 point clear of the Islanders above that playoff line. It is not a very comfortable spot they're in. Carolina's 26-9-7 on the season. Last 10 games are 6-3-1. At home, they're 12-5-1, and they're 2 points ahead of New Jersey. New Jersey's heated up again. Carolina's had their struggles recently. Maybe New Jersey gets back the lead in the division. Carolina's going to be looking to make sure that doesn't happen. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Toronto and Boston. This is a big one. Now, Toronto cannot give Boston their first regulation loss at home. That was done by Seattle. So Toronto will be looking to give them 2 straight regulation losses at home. Toronto did beat Boston on November 5th, 2-1. That, of course, was in Toronto. Their third and fourth meetings are February 1st, as well as April the 6th. For Toronto, they're 26-10-7. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. Away from home, they're 11-7-3. They are 6 points clear of the Tampa Bay Lightning. On the Boston side, they're 32-5-4. Last 10 games are 7-1-2. At home, they're 19-1-3, with that one being from Seattle. They're 9 points clear of Toronto. So still very comfortably clear, but Toronto would like to get some more distance between themselves and the Bolts and get within 7 points of Boston with a win in regulation. So we'll see how it goes. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Vancouver in against Florida. Florida won this game in Vancouver 5-1. It was an embarrassing loss on December the 1st for Vancouver. We'll see if Vancouver can do anything. But it feels like things are falling so far off the rails. They're 17-21-3. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Away from home, they're 9-11-2. They're now 12 points out of the playoffs, behind both Calgary and Edmonton. For Florida, they're 19-20-4. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They're coming off of a loss here. At home, they're 10-6-3. They're 6 points back of Pittsburgh. So if they want to make the playoffs, they have to go on a bit of a run. They have to hope that teams between themselves and the playoffs go through their own ruts and allow them to get in there. So for Pittsburgh, for Florida, it's going to be tough, and for Pittsburgh, the pressure is on. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific start between the Arizona Coyotes and the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota won the first meeting November 27th, 4-3. The third and fourth meetings are February 6th and March the 12th. So 3 games left against Arizona for Minnesota, including this one. For the Arizona Coyotes, they're 13-23-5 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 3-7. Away from home, they're 6-17-3. They are 18 points behind Calgary and Edmonton for that last playoff spot. On the Minnesota side, they're 23-14-4. Their last 10 games, they're 5-3-2. At home, they're 12-8-1. They're 5 points ahead of St. Louis, who are below the playoff line. But remember, if you can't catch the wild card, maybe you have a chance of catching that team that is third in the division. So St. Louis 1 point closer to a wild card spot than to third spot, but it is something to keep an eye on as we get into that second half of the season. 8 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Buffalo and Nashville. This is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet again on March the 21st. So for Buffalo, they're 20-18-2. Their last 10 games are 6-4, but they've lost 3 in a row. The good news is they're better on the road than they are at home. They're 11-7 on the road. They are 6 points back of Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's been struggling. Buffalo has not taken advantage and closed the gap. On the Nashville side, they're 19-16-6 overall. Their last 10 games are 5-3-2. They're coming off of a frustrating loss to Montreal. At home, they're 9-6-3. They're 5 points back of Calgary and Edmonton for that last playoff spot in the West. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific start as well between Seattle and Chicago. Chicago won the first meeting. Yep, 5-4 on October 23rd. The third and final meeting will be April the 8th. So for Seattle, coming off of a win against Boston, now they're in against Chicago. Chicago's won 3 in a row. I want to put a magnet there saying this is a trap game, but I'm not going to. Seattle's 25-12-1. Their last 10 games are 7-2-1. The 7 are all in a row. Away from home, they're 15-4-2. Excellent on the road. They're 5 points clear of Calgary and Edmonton in third spot in that division. On the Chicago front, they're 11-25-4. Their last 10 games, they're 4-6. So they're getting better. It's just relatively speaking, and they've won 3 in a row. At home, they're 8-14-2. They are currently a mere 23 points behind Calgary and Edmonton for those last playoff spots. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific start as well between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the St. Louis Blues. The first meeting, Tampa Bay won at home on November 25th, 5-2. Tampa Bay's 26-13-1 overall. Their last 10 games are 6-4. Away from home, they're 9-9. They are nowhere near as good on the road as they are at home. That needs to change. They're 10 points ahead of Detroit for that third spot, so it shows just how entrenched they are in third spot in that division. Although, again, if they can win and if Toronto loses, they get within 4 points of Toronto. On the St. Louis side, they're 21-19-3 overall. Their last 10 games are 5-3-2. At home, they're 8-9-2. They're 4 points back of both Calgary and Edmonton for that last playoff spot in the West. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific starts. So we have 2 late games, including a 7:30 start Pacific, because you knew there's going to at least be one. So we have Edmonton against Vegas starting at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. The first meeting was a thriller on November 19th. The Edmonton Oilers won in overtime 4-3. They will meet again on March 25th as well as March 28th. So those could be very important games. For the Oilers, they're 23-18-3. Their last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. Away from home, they're 13-7-1. They're better on the road than they are at home. That's the way it works with teams this year. They're tied with Calgary for that last playoff spot. They're 4 points ahead of St. Louis in terms of that last playoff spot. On the Vegas side, they're 28-13-2 overall. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. At home, they're 13-10. So they've won, 5 out of their last 6 at home, something like that. They're 2 points ahead of LA for the top spot in the division. They will, of course, be without Stone for the next couple of weeks at least. We'll see how they do. 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern start between New Jersey and the LA Kings. So New Jersey comes off spanking Anaheim, and now they are going to try to go into LA and get a victory there. This is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet again in New Jersey on February the 23rd. New Jersey's 27-12-3. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. Away from home, they're 16-2-1. So Seattle and Vegas. Vegas is very good on the road as well. Seattle, Vegas, New Jersey are likely the best of the road teams this year. New Jersey's 6-3-1 over their last 10, which is a solid record, and has got them so they're 2 points clear of the New York Rangers. Currently, the Rangers are one of the 4 teams not playing, along with San Jose, Winnipeg, and Anaheim. LA's 25-14-6. Their last 10, they're 7-2-1. At home, they're 14-7-2. So they're very good at home, and they're 2 points clear of Seattle. So that division is crunched together quite nicely. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, including your winners. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. It's a very full day. And again, January is going to be like this. A lot of teams will have played, I would imagine, 50-plus games by the All-Star break. And then we get into that February, March, April crunch. And before we know it, we're into the playoffs. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe, because I'll know, and then I'll be sad. Thank you guys so much for all your support. You don't want me to be sad, hit the like button. I will talk to you again soon. I will count the likes.